straight away. It is going to be INTZ taking away that Lucian. I don't want to see him at all.
Lucian taken off the board away from Seo is a very curious thing. We've seen a lot of Lucian played at the moment though, so no surprises.
Yeah, definitely seen him being a common reoccurrence here, but the Fiora, haven't seen Fiora played. Not too sure about the bans following that will be Maokai and Echo. No surprises there as they've been the dominant top lane picks.
Yeah, look, that Fiora ban is actually just a big question mark to me. Sure, they might be a very good Fiora player, and I would not be surprised that they're banning it away if it was, but with the Maokai ban, with the Echo ban, and the Fiora ban, top lane and AD carries are the focus.
Yeah, it looks like they will be following that up with the Kalista ban. Haven't seen her play today, and we're not going to be seeing her now as she does get banned away, but always such a menace on players, especially Saya. They've got to take that away from her.
Has she been banned every game? No, she hasn't. Interesting, they just don't opt into playing her.
Yeah, Sivir going to be the last one taken off, so none of that massive movement speed AoE buff she gives to those teams.
Just AD carries in top lane transition here. We've got so many junglers available. You would even say Kindred perhaps is the first pick option. With no Echo or Maokai available, maybe even Gragas, which is, I'll say, as far as this tournament has gone in the first day, has risen in popularity indefinitely.
We've got to think of Graves. He is still on the table and been talking to two of the most premier junglers in our region just before, and they love Graves. They keep telling me, why didn't they get Graves? Why didn't they ban Graves? They got to ban Graves. So I'm expecting maybe a Graves pick here.
Graves definitely a strong champion. That goes without saying. And I personally rate Nidalee just as highly, but it comes down to how the game starts. I think it's quite important. Kindred as well has been answered by Graves most of the time, which is the very cool thing.
Oh, Ali.
Wow.
Looks like that will be picked up for Jockster in that bot lane. We see a lot of supports and top laners flex, but Alistar, after having a few quality of life changes to that headbutt auto attack combination, has been kind of relegated down to that support role.
Yeah, definitely only the support at the moment. Rest in peace, AP Alistar. You were not so great for a single patch, but naturally, the super tank is going to be the option in that bottom lane. Would not be surprised if Arce brought out something like the Bard, or a potential, the Bardo, a potential carried support perhaps to deal with it, or just a fighter one that can match it. Yeah, two of the most popular picks of the tournament so far. That is going to be Trundle, the flex pick, and Gragas in the jungle. Now, you mentioned just how much of a priority Gragas is to this team, and while Flash is in the game, he is essentially the perfect champion. Not much counterplay available while that Flash body slam is available. Yeah, absolutely. The Flash body slam, you have to, every time he uses his body slam, you don't know if he's going to flash afterwards, so you have to actually make an assumption and flash yourself. Yeah, it's definitely something that's just so much fun to play around, and it allows for a great counterplay. Really enjoy that. So yeah, lots of absolutely counterplay everywhere on that particular. You know, it's wonderful. Yeah, really good. They do have disengage though on Lyon Gaming, so that's the Trundle and Gragas actually being locked in is entirely disengage based. They've got, I guess, the option of engaging themselves with the Gragas flash body slam that we alluded towards, but primary function, probably have a hard carry as your AD carry perhaps, and work around them. It looks like we see on the side of INTZ, they are going to be locking in that Lissandra and the Nidalee. So you mentioned Nidalee, a great way. Great top-tier jungler at the moment, has so much poke, so much clear potential to keep herself farmed up. Haven't seen them do too well in this tournament so far, but if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Revolta. Yeah, and again, the only reason we didn't see Nidalee do too well was that level 1 start where Tom Kench decided to take an entire wolf away from him. That's painful. And that was painful to watch. Yeah, that was very painful to watch, actually. Cassandra as well locked in with it, I will say, has been a staple for most mid laners, performing quite well. Reliable engage, reliable safety as well. Very hard to kill a Lissandra. Lots of options to them there. Yeah, so looking on the side of Lyon Gaming, they have a lot of things to work with. That is such a Brazilian shout out. Sorry, that was great. Oh man, I wasn't sure to say it or not, but they've got two of the most premier tank champions that's really not showing too much of their hand right now. So the AD carry, maybe even support, top, mid, is very flexible right now. They can kind of just fit anything in. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, flexibility is the name of the game for most drafts at the moment. Okay, Kindred. So that could mean Gragas top and Trundle support then, yeah? Yeah, that should primarily mean exactly that. I don't want to say that it's Gragas support anytime soon, but I personally like it. I do think that it's going to be Gragas top lane, and we will have that Trundle disengage option with the Ezreal. Yeah, that's a pretty hard bottom lane to kill. Yeah, that is looking very good. So picking up that Kindred in the jungle, Kindred versus Nidalee. It's going to be up to Thiak to see if he can take it to Revolta, because Kindred, if she falls behind early, we saw what happened in the game. He was just about to get his stack off the Raptor camp, then the Gragas barrel came through and took that, and it was all downhill from there. Yeah, there's a bit of RNG involved with Kindred. Of course, where the mark actually spawns is important. Just as much as where you can invade, where you can find early kills. If you can get the mark on that person that you take down as well, actually just does wonders. Such a kit-based and passive-based champion, so either you get going early or you don't get going until late.
And for those of you wondering, most Kindreds have been marking their opposing jungler very early on, just in case of invades or anything like that, then go to transition into someone else. But we could be seeing the first Jinx of the tournament, and we have. There's going to be a Jinx locked in for Mycal.
Lots of AD carries banned, I think is the easiest way to say this. We've got a Sivir, Kalista, Lucian banned, and Ezreal locked in. Now, there aren't many options available for those with limited champion pools in the AD carry position.
You're not wrong right there. And Nautilus is going to be rounding out that lineup, so he should be going in the top lane with Alistar swapping down there for support.
Yeah, the Nautilus as well. I think it's the only one available with the Maokai gone that is a hard lockdown type of spell. Actually does quite well, but there's a lot of denial options still available for this Lyon Gaming roster. Even with just the Trundle and the Maokai, even the Kindred to defuse, and it's very hard to hook an Ezreal.
Morgana might be the answer to some of their problems here. That spell shield pretty much denies any of the CC that comes out of INTZ if she can time it well enough, of course.
Yeah, I'd like Morgana or Braum.
Sure.
I personally would like Braum.
Oh.
But we have a support already. Why are we looking at that? I am an idiot. We're looking at mid laners.
Morgana can go mid. It's not the best, but she can do it.
She can. It's not advised.
No, so it looks like we will be seeing that Azir in the mid. And we've seen Azir's time and time again, even if they get a little bit far behind, are still able to wreck face just those soldiers spearing through multiple opponents. The damage just adds up over time.
Yeah, he does a lot of damage, but the question's always been around the lockdown that you can actually put onto him. So you look at the team that's across from Yuri right now, and you've got a Lissandra, you've got a Nautilus, and you've got an Alistar. If any of them get next to him, he's probably going to have a bad time.
Yeah, that wall only is so good. Eventually, they are going to find ways to get past there, especially if you get CC'd in the first place ahead, but Pulverize not going to be enough to keep him safe if he's doesn't have that wall up already.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? So they've got knockups, which is something that you can't actually use the Azir ultimate during and get out safely with. So he needs to be quite careful. Also running barrier opposed to a cleanse, and I actually like that because, as we mentioned, there are knockups, not stuns. So naturally, you actually get yourself a little bit healthier during those things. Of course, he's against a Lissandra, so as far as barrier goes, it'll stop me from dying in a 1v1. Maybe not in the 1v2.
No, you just got to play the cards you dealt. When you mention knockups, the last thing you want is that cleanse, but Lissandra is such a formidable opponent. So the junglers here, Revolta, we've talked time and time again just how good he is on these carry jungles. Going to be fed that Nidalee. Really excited to see just how strong he can make it seem, because so far it's been looking a little bit subpar to me.
Yeah, I mean, Nidalee with the current patch as well has a very fast clear time if left uncontested.
Yep.
Does run a little bit low now in that jungle clear, so very important that lanes are at least controlling or winning at level 1. Ideally, you have those standard lanes as well to stop early invades and make life miserable for you. It's not something you don't want that to happen, and you're right, I think Revolt is actually the key factor coming into this game. He needs to put in work.
And we mentioned just how many AD carries were taken away in this game, the Ezreal being picked and a bunch being banned. So you've got Mycal being relegated down to that Jinx. Now, we haven't seen a hell of a lot of Jinx lately, and there's good reason for it.
Yeah, I think Macau's going to be perfectly fine, though. You have to remember he's got the Runan's Hurricane as well. So it's a new item that Jinx has actually started picking up, and I actually quite like that item as a choice for Jinx. It makes her a little bit more viable in that respect. The rockets can clear backlines pretty much automatically because you turn a rocket. If it crits once, everything dies because all 3 crit.
Yeah, well, I'm really, really excited to see just how well they do with it. And there's just a lot of champions that Jinx, she's not that good at getting away from, which is why we haven't seen her play too much as opposed to some of those more mobile carries such as Ezreal and Lucian.
Yeah, and I guess the mobility is the most important thing here for a lot of the AD carries at the moment. I guess the crazy thing to me is the compositions almost suit the opposite AD carry for each as well. Disengage, you kind of want that on the Jinx side, but I'm going to say it's a forcible pick due to a lack of champion pool perhaps, and mostly because they were all banned.
So did I miss something, or why is Corki hiding under a rock all of a sudden? I swear it was all about Corki in the mid, in the bot, and then we haven't been seeing him at all.
Yeah, it's a very good question actually. I don't know if Corki in the mid lane is as strong as it used to be.
Sure.
But Corki as an AD carry option to me would still make a lot of sense, and I do think that they could have looked towards that. Obviously, though, with the team composition they've put together, they just want to scale.
Yeah, that's fair enough, and They definitely have the potential to. Like, once Jinx gets that fully completed Runan's Hurricane, you mentioned the Rockets just crits for days, as we already see them scrapping over here, over at the Wolf camp. It looks like it was smited away as we see the Spirit of the Wolf running away there, so they should have secured that one for themselves.
Yeah. Very early invade, though, just putting down a bit of pressure naturally, and looks like we've got a... Is it a lane swap? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we have, everyone just going the lane swap. The top laners will be running around with their junglers, making sure they can soak up as much experience as they can in the mid lane. We just see these two mages farming up a storm. No one with real kill pressure at the moment. Of course, they're both taking defensive summoner spells. Lysandra picking up that teleport, while on the side of Azir, he's got himself the barrier.
I will say, however, that early invade attempt that the Ezreal and the Trundle did make put a slight CS advantage for Macau on the Jinx. So all things considered, it's not going to be too bad as, once again, the lane swap tower pushes commence.
Yeah, it looks like just a standard lane push here. The jungle is meeting, the top lane is meeting up with their bot laners to make sure to get as much damage onto this tower as possible. Looks like there will be, no, the minions are there just in time, not going to be tanking it up. And on the opposite side, you see Lyon Gaming doing the exact same thing.
And Ezreal surprisingly good at taking down turrets, I will say, due to the fact that, you know, you've got that W available, increase everybody's attack speed and your own. That's a great point. So actually quite effective at doing so is Yang is going to get it.
All right, looking good. So on the side of Lyon Gaming, they choose to share the gold 3 ways, where on the side of INTZ, it is going to be Nautilus getting that one for himself, and Kindred already an early stack.
Yeah, that early mark's actually quite important. So good to see that that has been taken by Thiak. Needs to actually maintain the momentum that he got from that, though. Will be feeling a little bit stronger if he were to meet a unsuspecting Nidalee or the bottom lane of INTZ.
Yeah, so both the AD carries going back after that, picking themselves up a Cull, which spells nothing but farming in our books here.
Oh, no.
Looks like they're just making their way up.
Does he want to fight this? That's my question.
Kindred's sticking around, so...
Yeah, because it's a double
Trundle's
buff.
on his way.
They absolutely want this.
Yeah, they might be going for it here. Kindred, she's spending a lot of time sitting in this bush. Arcee's on his way. Ezreal as well, but looks like they will just be backing off. Good read on the current situation by INTZ. They had a feeling that it was coming and backed off.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that was Lyon actually not wanting to switch the lanes out of standard either. They actually wanted to just match it. And so by bringing pressure up there, by having the Kindred hang around, it was well done by INTZ to recognize and back away. But it was also just well rotated because what they were looking for was that standard.
Yeah, it looks like they will be doing just that. They tried to go for something sneaky. Not going to work out, as we see now. The standard lanes, although it is in the top side here. So Alistar and Jinx doing their best to push that one up back in the mid lane. Looks like Azir's out of potions, while Lysandra still got one in her back pocket. So doing well early on in this lane.
Yeah, that mid lane potion counter. Of course, Tokka's having a... teleport in advantage as well, means he's definitely putting in some overtime in the work that he's doing in this middle lane. Will find himself at a slight CS advantage, you'd imagine, if the teleport is used to get back, but we will see.
Yeah, Jinx just doing a good job of keeping those minions pushed up far, though. With no tower to back her up, a lot of pink wards looks like they will be picking up here. That's a good amount of gold invested by Lyon Gaming early on. Revolta, though, might want to make a play here, leaping over that rift. Herald, well, I keep going to call him Harold just because you guys do so much. It's kind of stuck in the back of my brain.
He's Harold. Don't worry about it.
Jumping over Harold's little wall here as we see Thiak in the bot lane along with Jural. They want to make sure that Yang loses as much CS as he can.
Yeah, I think it's just early rotations again. A lot of slow map movements trying to get themselves small advantages, inching further and further ahead. But the only real benefactor of this thus far has been Yang.
Yeah, both mid laners have hit level 6 right about now, so the ultimates will be available. Lissandra's going to be a lot more impactful very early on if she chooses to roam, where Azir's very situational here, but here might be the situation. The ulti comes out looking really bad. He might get killed, and that's going to be first blood going over to Alistar.
Yeah, wow, they get an early first blood, a 6-minute tower dive, but mostly because Tokka's hits that level 6 point. And very easy for them to do so. A lot of summoners burnt, but Yuri not having that teleport means that there's nobody able to attend that middle lane, besides perhaps Jural, who just shows up on time to defend.
Yeah, he had his ultimate available, but we mentioned he got stunned straight away by Lysandra, knocked up by Alistar, and that was it. First blood, of course, the gold going over to Alistar. Not as great as we would like, as we see Thiaki is going to be clearing out his Raptor camps just now on the other side of Revolta, doing the same but to his wall, so both of them respecting each other's own jungle for the time being.
Yeah, leaving them to their own devices, as is custom with both of these junglers. Nidalee, however, I would say wants to invade more.
Sure.
Try and get things done, but trying to invade a Kindred is just another ball game entirely. And it's a constant risk, especially when you've got people freezing waves and holding long lanes. Yang in particular. Rotating would have been difficult if Jiraiya was nearby.
Yeah, definitely. So as we slow down a little bit after that first blood, INTZ have got themselves about 1,000 gold lead here. Both teams on a turret apiece. Everyone just going to be farming up. Yuri, though, he's got to know that that dive can come at any time, and that's a pre-6 Alistar. Once that alley hits 6, there is nowhere safe for him.
Yeah, dives are always a big threat with an Alistar in the roster. That goes without saying as well. Just such a potent champion, and even first picked as well by INTZ. Recognizing the strength of said champion and that they are entirely capable of diving with it. Yuri, though, did keep his flash.
That's good.
That makes life a bit easier from an Alistar dive. But if you couple that with a Lissandra's lockdown, entirely doable.
Looks like Revolta will be denying the second Kindred camp of the game, making sure he can't get himself an easy second stack. When you're playing Kindred, you always love to see that red spiral on top of the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, I think it early spawns on a spiral. Scuttle Crab? Spiral Crab. Nice.
Spiral Crab.
But yeah, RNG is kind of a thing in that.
Sure.
There's opportunities in certain games that a Kindred can go ridiculously far ahead. There's also opportunities that Kindred stays around the normal mark, just based off where they spawn. Yeah,
so you can see the mark on Revolta here. So doesn't really want to look to invade and give him an extra mark, but his Nautilus is quite far up. The Wolf Spirit is going to be spotting them out. They want to fight for this blue buff. Kindred might be in a little bit of trouble here. Here comes Gragas just in time. The ulti comes out. Kindred has to drop Lamb's Respite. Is it going to be enough? The Gragas ulti blocks them out. The heal goes down. Going to have to flash away from this one, though.
Yeah, Thiak gets out perfectly fine, but the pressure that the Nautilus and the Nidalee have, even with Lissandra rotating around the map, that's the big deal to me. Is what we're used to seeing in this team. Ooh. Oh no, reset. Can't get over the wall.
That's going to cost him a little bit of time here, but a successful blue invade. No casualties on either side except for LG's blue buff, so they are going to be... Azir is going to be longing for that one. He takes himself the Raptor camp as a consolation prize. Not going to be getting anything other than that, though.
But that's the big deal, right? He's pretty far behind in terms of items, and he's losing mid lane in terms of control as well. So the fact that Tokas is leaving without teleporting says a lot about how this lane is going.
He's definitely not feeling it as we look back up in the top lane. About a 10 CS lead for the Ezreal. He's got himself the tier. His cull definitely closer to being completed after both of them got it around that same time period. Jinx going for that BF sword, wants the damage up front rather than the mana sustain, of course.
Yeah, of course. Ezreal, on the other hand, needs to scale, needs those 2 items before he's actually in a point of power. And so, as expected, we'll go for that cull to chill out, not lose lane, and just sit back and try his best to scale. I will say, though, the BF sword from Mikau, I would imagine he holds it at the BF sword.
Sure.
And then goes from that to the Runar's Hurricane. Just needs that AD boost before he goes for it.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that as a growing trend in the carries lately. They like to get that attack speed and the utility that comes from it rather than the raw damage of the IE, and a little bit of a top-up for Tokas on that blue buff. Yeah, he's got to be feeling good.
The double blue buff at the moment as well. That is an absurdly strong Lissandra. Look at the item spikes as well.
Oh, wow.
So the Abyssal Scepter actually being completed is, you know, it's around the 70 CS mark that you'll see that, but that's just a sign that he is happy. Like, the amount of damage that he can do if there's a skirmish right now, he's probably the #1 threat.
Yeah, INTZ is looking really strong, and they're going to take this Rift Herald without a second guess, as Tokas, he was just running point guard for them, taking out a pink ward, and there is no one to answer for it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, this is backwards to what INTZ usually do. Usually you'll see Revolta running around the map and trying to get his solo lanes ahead.
Sure.
But right now, they've actually got their solo lanes walking around the map trying to keep Revolta ahead. And it's working out for them.
It looks like he's getting himself, both the junglers actually picking up that Hunter's Potion, so they want that sustain. They obviously value it right now. Is Jox to level 6? He goes in. Arsene might be in a bit of trouble. 2 teleports coming out. The Zap gonna miss. The Jinx ulti misses, but it's not gonna matter as Nautilus is there with the ulti. Revolta picks that one up, and in the mid lane, Yuri and Tokas are going blow to blow. It is looking close as both of them are just gonna back away, hang their heads in shame as no solo kills come out.
Yeah, no flashes burnt, but the barrier also used by Yuri for the ultimate trade, so a slight advantage gained by Tokas, who should smartly recall and threaten the teleport.
Saya getting out of that one by the skin of his teeth here, so Yang Have to burn the flash just for that. Not going to happen, but a net advantage over to INTZ as they were able to get a tower and a kill. And just great positioning.
Yeah, it definitely was. And even with all of the ultimates missing in that top lane, they still get themselves the kill, get themselves the turret, and they're in a commanding position. The gold lead actually stretching by a fair margin at 11 minutes.
Yeah, it's really looking good for INTZ. They're definitely looking a lot stronger than we saw them against Hard Random. 4K up already, 2 towers to 1. Neither team has really shown any interest in that dragon yet, but once you have a lead that INTZ do, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. I think that is the easiest way to describe that one as well. Yeah. It's just a matter of time. INTZ, a very good team, went ahead as well. I think the major contrast when we saw them play against Hard Random is they were never actually ahead.
Yeah.
Even though it felt like they were ahead, they just weren't. So the items weren't an advantage to them. They were against an Anivia that honestly made their life miserable.
Revolta just going to be clearing up that Scuttle Crab any minute now, no? Just moving in.
I think he wants the dragon, but he wants to get rid of Kindred before he goes for it.
That's a fair point.
That is a Devourer Kindred.
Yeah, 5 stacks is no laughing matter as they're trying to get as many wards down on the side of LG to make sure this isn't a completely uncontested dragon. They still think they can fight for this by their positioning, but Revolta just doing a great job of keeping Kindred out of the river.
Yeah, neither top lane are actually having their teleport for this, so you would imagine it's safe to do. In saying that, Girat will have his miles before the opponent top laner and Yang.
Yeah, looks like Yang, he has completed his Sunfire Cape. On the other side, it is only the Spectre's Cow for Giral, so it might spell a little bit of disaster going into such an AD-heavy team.
Yeah, I think ideally Giral gets his Spirit Visage before they start trying to do anything further, because he can't lane.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's doing okay, but sooner or later the Nautilus actually pulls ahead, and it is a battle of inches when you look at the tanks fighting each other as they wear their safety gear and ram into each other until one of them gets a scratch. Yeah,
it looks like the dragon was taken by INTZ in a minute as we watch that again. The Ezreal ult just going to be giving vision on it, but it will be Revolta picking that one up as we see 3 members of INTZ going in and a battle of the Titans in the top lane. Always exciting.
I guess, man. Yeah, look, I guess they are. They just don't die. I think it's like super wacky waving and inflatable arm flailing tube men just swinging in the wind at each other. That's what it is.
That would be a sight for sore eyes.
Well, you just watched it in top lane.
Yeah, but I like to think them as Titans just wailing on each other and no one moving an inch.
I will only pay this to stop because it's a Nautilus. Only because it's a Nautilus.
We see Revolta just going to be taking away his own red buff. Not going to be giving that off to his Jinx just yet. As Jinx doing some jungling of her own, taking away. Oh, was it taken?
Yep.
Oh, that was nice. I'll give him that one.
Yeah. Comes up. Clutch. With the crop steal. No, okay, it's a little bit of money in the back pocket. But it's also a 10 CS advantage for the Ezreal, so actually getting resources in his back pocket quite well for what it's worth. He's finished his cull. Maiko's still 5 CS off completing that one, so a big gold influx going to be coming there soon. And we're actually wrong. Looks like he will be finishing that Infinity Edge on schedule. But it actually upgrades his Berserker Grooves beforehand. So gets the move speed, gets the attack speed, and that is a rotation-based item build. And he'll be doing a lot of damage to turrets with that one. So perhaps they look to continue to siege down objectives. The mid lane is the next one that you would hope they go towards. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, especially since Jinx has that attack speed buff. As we get a freeze frame of a little team fight happening off, Lamb's Respite was used. Might be in a little bit of trouble here. Yep. We are going to be seeing the start of that fight. The teleport's coming in. Yuri, where is he going to do? Looks like Thyak, he might be in a little bit of trouble here. Will the Lamb's Respite be enough to keep him alive? Yang, he's got his mark set. The ultimate goes over the flash. Is going to be enough. But there, the rocket narrowly missing the kill there. So no one going to die. No casualties on either side. But wow, that was close. Yeah, not a lot of damage from that rocket, unfortunately, from Mikau. It almost looked like it was going to be enough. And I will say, I specifically watched Yang use his hook into a wall. I think he was trying to flash it before he hooked. But he hooked the wall. And I think that was potentially the kill threat then going to waste. I don't know if INTZ are done, though, as the threat for this dive could be a thing. Giral's got TP and they have their sights set on mid lane. A risky dive, though. Yeah, will Lyon Gaming just give it up? We see Lysandra, the Claw of Doom, going to be coming in here. They might just be giving this tower up for free as it gets lower and lower. Joxer is reasonably low, though. It looks like Yuri will be able to keep them at bay with the Sand Soldiers. And Revolta hitting a lot of spears as well to keep them low as low as possible, honestly. I don't think INTZ are going to stop sieging this turret now that they've established how low it is and how much pressure they can actually place down. But with 2 people flanking, they run the risk of being hard engaged on.
Oh, Mycal might be in a little bit of trouble here. Looks like he will be turning flashes. The body slam out of Giral, the barrel. Not going to be enough, but it saves the turret. But for how long, Rusty?
Yeah, and again, that's just 2 people being on the top side of the lane. Nobody protecting the Jinx in terms of positioning. And a good pillar from Arce actually forces that to happen. And now Summoner burnt from a Jinx, very susceptible to ganks.
Yeah, definitely one of the most important ones in the game. This tower on an absolute blink of health. Minions at this stage could take it if anyone wasn't defending it, but the entire squad of LG are there, and the last thing they want is their mid tower going down, because that unlocks so much potential for Revolta to get in behind enemy lines and just cause a ruckus.
Yeah, it ruins a lot of map pressure, essentially, that you have innately through the map just by having the turret there, but it would have been bananas if INTZ continued to do that. Threatening this is risky.
Oh, it looks like Tokas, he wants to go in for this. He just blows up Kindred with no Lamb's Respite available. The cross-map ulti from Jinx comes out. Not a lot of damage done. Looks like everyone will be backing out of it. Does Giral have enough mana for the body slam? He does, but he comes in, gets the hook. Revolta might want something more. Here comes the claw over the wall. Jocks are there to knock up, and that's going to be a kill onto Gragas.
And that was a 4v5.
Wow.
They had Jinx bot lane the entire time. I assumed that the call was not going to be to fight, but they fight over a Rift Herald in a 4v5, and they make it work. The amount of damage that Tokas was doing instantly killed Kindred. That was everything.
That was insane. That Lamb's Respite could have been the difference between life and death, quite literally, but they're just absolutely flexing over their opponent now, showing no fear and no hesitation. They get themselves that mid tower, get a ton of damage on the bot tower, and are really cementing their lead in the game. 7,000 gold, Rusty.
Yeah, and you would imagine it only gets worse from here. The Jinx hasn't bought in quite a while, so it's probably the IE and a Azir, if not more.
Spot on, Rusty.
Yeah, nice. And a pink one. Nailed it. It's what I do. I don't know how I do it. But naturally, that is just an advantage. You mentioned the gold lead. It's already just a whopping difference between these 2 teams. And as far as I'm concerned, going for a 4v5 at a Rift Herald just says it all. Like, they are so ahead, and they're so confident and knowing that they're ahead, that they are probably just going to look to try and continue to siege what they were doing before, but now they've reset the minion waves. Yeah,
Revolta going to be doing another invade onto this blue buff. The Ezreal ulti comes down, but it's not going to be enough to get smited away. Dragon spawning in about 30 seconds, so they're in a great position to take this, as we see a nice little freeze frame of Tokas eyeing down his next opponent in that top lane, Giral.
Yeah, perhaps. It is a magic resistance stacked Gragas, to be fair. So in terms of kill threat, I would say it's sparing.
Yep.
What he is doing, however, is threatening with the teleport to actually come back into another lane. As you can see, it's available. And now it's not.
So yeah, both of them have that teleport available for the dragon fight. But if Lyon Gaming try to fight this, it's going to spell disaster unless some miraculous outplay comes in.
Yeah, not even having the Ezreal ultimate, I was going to imagine they will try and steal it with that as their best bet, but I'm not even sure that INTZ actually need to go for the dragon. They've got the first one. The second one gives them damage to turrets.
True.
And so I would wager they should go for it.
Looks like it will be the next objective now, as we can see the jungler, the support, and the ADC going down. True Shot Barrage, about 25% left on that cooldown, so it might be up in time if they can stall the members of INTZ any longer. But LG, they're not looking too crash hot here.
Yeah, life's not good. Is the best way to describe this. And no, Lyon Gaming, they are on the back foot. They need to just essentially turtle it out. And if there's one thing we have seen from them, they don't know exactly how to turtle or to play the game slow.
Dragon.
They get forced into it.
Yep, sure. Looks like during that brief respite, Dragon was taken, so that is going to be the second Dragon for INTZ. As Rusty mentioned earlier, they do now get access to a little bit of burn damage on the turrets, allowing them to push a little bit easier, giving some of these AP champions a better time, especially with Lissandra. She's going to have a much better time pushing down the towers now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, tanks in particular are the ones that benefit from it the most. People that sit in solo lanes, they get higher levels. It scales with your level. Okay, so the amount of damage that you do, I think, goes up by 10 with every respective level to about 180 at level 18. Might be a little bit more. I'm not actually entirely sure on the exact value. But either way, the tanks, the solo laners, people who get the highest levels will be naturally doing much more. And you'll see a champion like Nautilus actually be doing a lot of damage over time to turrets that he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, so they've got this real kill pressure on these towers now, not just on the champion. So they've got this game essentially in the bag. They're going to have to do maybe a monumental screw-up to kind of lose the lead they have at the moment. Like, the game is their oyster at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Something's going to have to go horribly wrong for INTZ Esports to lose the advantages that they do have. It's an Italy that's ahead. It's an Alistar that's in a position where he's actually got lots of levels as well. So naturally, you would define that as ahead in comparison to his team that he's against. Nautilus as well. I would say there's probably no way Nautilus is dying from this point unless he dives a little bit too deep, perhaps. And once again, it's a Jinx composition. So with that front line in mind, how are you getting to the Jinx?
Yeah, we saw them able to defend that mid tower for a few minutes, but after a while, eventually it did fall after that Rift Herald disaster on the side of Lyon Gaming. But we saw how well they can defend a tower if they need to do. So they need to defend the tower. So it's really going to be up to them to see how well the Azir can get those Sand Soldiers in the correct position and make sure that Jinx has to walk into that range if she wants to do any tower damage.
Yeah, to me, they're kind of just resigned because of the team composition that they put together. So, like, I'm looking at Lyon Gaming's team comp. They've got a Trundle, they've got a Gragas, they've got lots of disengage, and they've got a lot of safety to back them up. So actually diving the turret, pretty difficult.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of disengage, but it's very, once they've used it all, there's not a lot besides maybe the pillar up their arsenal. They can throw the barrel and then it's kind of touch and go from there. But on the side of INTZ, they've really got it.
Yeah, so that's, again, to bring it back as well. Like, they've got all this disengage. It's hard to dive them, but to me, the problem is just their engage. Like, plain and simple, right? Like, they could be 7k gold behind. It might be hard for INTZ to close out on one objective, but they've got the 1-3-1 available to them. They can try and disperse numbers, place vision, and secure perhaps the Baron as their big advantage to close out the game. But the flip side is, like, if they ever find advantages, if they ever want to try and kill INTZ, to actually kill them is near impossible because their engage is maybe a flash Gragas body slam if someone gets pillared in a situation where they're out of position. Like, it's very sparing.
You got to remember that their engage is also their disengage. If they want to make sure that one of those members gets smashed into the backline with that Gragas barrel, that means it's not going to be available to protect your carries. If the Trundle pillar is used to stop someone running away, it's not going to be there for the retreat. So it's a very all-in or nothing at all composition.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's all or nothing in that respect. And Kindred's perhaps the only exception to that rule is, oh, things are happening.
Yeah, it looks like we've seen a top tower go down, a Kindred go down. And Mikau, he's looking very strong.
And Dux lost that Archie, unfortunately, at the moment. He hasn't been able to use that, just getting bursted out before he could even anticipate it.
Yeah.
The gold lead that they've got at the moment, though, INTZ, you would imagine they want the Baron.
Yep. There's no reason that they shouldn't be going for it unless they feel it is completely not necessary to their win condition. But as we see, without a jungler on the opposing team, it's a smart play. A lot of damage being taken, but it might have just been a bait.
They want to fight, though.
Yeah, Nautilus is coming in the back. Looks like they've picked their target. It is going to be Arce. He is going to be getting a great pillar onto 4 members to keep them at bay. So a great TP flank, but a great pillar to prevent any further aggression.
Yeah, that was actually a phenomenal pillar. That was absolutely amazing to completely disengage. Mikau needs to be careful.
The chompers were enough to make sure that Gragas didn't get a rage.
Oh, that was adorable. Jira wanted to bait the flash out of Mikau just by using the body slam towards him, but nobody goes down on the side of INTZ, and they defend the Baron, Lyon Gaming. That's the most important thing. Yeah,
we're coming up to about a 10,000 gold lead on INTZ. We just got a quick look at their gold. Every single member on the side of INTZ is ahead. Not one of them is currently experiencing a gold discrepancy. So all of them, they're feeling good. They have their core items. Jinx, she's going for another attack speed item in the form of Zeal. Maybe a Static Shift, maybe a Phantom Dancer.
Rapid Fire.
Rapid Fire Cannon?
Yeah. The third and final one. So, like, the reason that'd be great as well is the extra range on rockets actually makes sieging, as an example, things like that really cool. The damage that you do with extra range rockets that surprise people, there's a chance it's an AoE one as well.
That's
one of the few champions that actually get rapid fire cannon still.
That's a great point. We have seen the decline of rapid fire cannon a little bit as we see Revolta takes a lot of damage, but at the end of the day, Nidalee is just going to heal that back up. She's got herself a lot of mana and a lot of sustain to boot, so they can do as much damage as they want. Eventually, the tower, there's no way to heal that one.
No, not at all, of course. Thankfully for them, the inhibitor turrets do regenerate slightly.
Yep.
Which means the pressure that they place in the side lanes needs to be appropriate. But it could be a slow closeout for INTZ. We're not entirely sure how they want to execute on this one yet. 3 dragons will help.
Lyon Gaming, though, they've got their main forces over at the Baron. Not going to pull the trigger, though, so this is going to be a free dragon on the side of INTZ. It's going to give them another little advantage to add to their long list of advantages.
Yeah, they equip another dragon, but INTZ have got such a large gold lead. Sorry, they've got such a large gold lead that honestly, you said it before, the game is their oyster at the moment. They can do as they would please. They've got the inside track, however, to this bottom lane through a setup stack from Yang, and I would imagine they try and siege this one now instead.
Yeah, Tokas has that teleport available should any shenanigans go down. It looks like it should just be an easy tower here, as the members of Lyon Gaming realize the potential threat and back off, giving them a wide berth. Saya just using his ult to clear the minion waves, because realistically, that's what it's there for at the moment.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's a janitorial Ezreal ultimate at the moment, and once again, Lyon Gaming, there was no way they could contest that. If they were to try to, they would have been dove. And the composition that INTZ have got together is phenomenal. All they're missing now is the Zonias, and with the Zonias completed on both Revolta and Tokas, you would imagine that the diving becomes infinitely easier to execute on. Especially with that rapid fire cannon.
Yeah, well, it is going to be exciting to watch, and hopefully it happens soon, because this game, it has gone into a little bit of a lull where Lyon Gaming have just given up the about 70 to 80% of the map here, allowing it to just take what they want. Another blue buff to Tokas. He's had more blue buffs than the junglers this game. It's insane.
Yeah, he's been doing well here.
Everyone else in the game, rather.
He's just had all of them.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's had every single blue nearly. At this stage in the game, yeah, you're right. Like, they've slowed it down, and this to me is still the concern that I have with INTZ. They like to play the game slow. Yeah. The gold lead is massively far ahead in their favor, so like sooner or later they'll be so far ahead that it doesn't matter. And that's kind of the game of inches that a lot of these wildcard teams play. But being able to win games when you're 10k gold ahead should be like clockwork to you.
That's a very valid point, and as you mentioned, we are about 10k in the lead on the side of INTZ, and they've yet to really force the hand of LG. LG are fine to give up a tower, they're fine to give up a dragon, but they're going to need to do a little bit more to crack the base. So INTZ, with a massive gold lead, massive experience lead, massive map control, they could stand to do a little bit more here, Rusty.
Yeah, I think both teams could stand to do a little bit more. One team wanting to scale, and yeah, finally this Baron is going to be started. This is the move that they needed to do. It makes breaking turrets a lot easier. Actually, teleports are in to contest this.
No vision, but their instincts are good enough. They see that the hook does miss. The ulti goes down onto Uri. He is going to have to put down the Soldier's Divine to keep them at bay, but he just gets dropped immediately. The Lamb's Respite going to keep him alive. Revolta gets taken super low. Where is Lissandra in the backline? The Super Mega Death Rocket takes that one out. Now Kindred going to be falling straight after. That is 2 kills to 0 in favor of INTZ.
Yeah, 2 big kills. Probably just go back to that Baron buff and secure it. With an Ezreal with no health and only a Gragas and a Trundle to speak of, you would think.
No, they want to fight.
I think they want to stop Lyon Gaming from poking them near this objective.
Sure.
That's the #1 piece of importance, because an Ezreal can be quite annoying.
Well, he's not there yet, and they are shredding through this Baron. It should go down any minute now. The flash body slam goes in. Not going to be enough as Dural. He gets super duper low. There is the hook. Finishes him off, and that should be a free Baron unless Saya can come up super clutch and make something happen. Not going to be enough, but that was a close ult.
That was a very close ultimate, but nobody goes down here from the side of INTZ Esports. They get themselves that Baron buff, 9-0 as well in kills. And they extend their gold lead to ridiculous amounts. And with that, this should be on them to try and close the rest of this game out. The onus is entirely on them just to execute that final blow.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling good having the entire Brazilian fan base backing them up, cheering them, I'm sure giving them many supportive words on their social media. So after that first game coming into this one, I'm sure they had enough time to reset, reevaluate the priorities that they put in the game. And despite being put onto this Jinx after a majority of the carries being banned, it's doing really good.
Yeah, you get through laning phase, Jinx is by no means a bad champion, right? Like, they have not changed Jinx whatsoever. In fact, the item builds that she can go are great at the moment.
Went for that rapid fire indeed.
Absolutely, and you'll see that with this siege starting, the rocket form Jinx is actually quite good at taking down turrets.
Yeah, it looks like the minions
if
just
hit it.
the minions just getting zapped away. Once again, Toka's going to be split pushing on that Lissandra Nautilus to back him up. That burn damage going to be coming through huge. Look at the tower. It is just going to be melting once Jinx gets in there. Yet to shoot a tower yet. I'm waiting to see just how much this rocket does with the rapid fire cannon buff, but gonna have to wait a little bit longer, Rusty.
Yeah, so they've got minions pushed in all 3 lanes, however. So this is a slow battle, but what it will do is force Lyon Gaming to run around the map. They're losing health bars through the poke composition as well. that INTZ have got with the Jinx auto attacks with rockets and the Nidalee spears to boot. Even Lissandra to an extent, threatening engages and zoning.
The base has been broken, Saya. He does get caught, but is able to arcane shift away. That second tower should fall, and the game of attrition has paid off as there are 2 exposed inhibitors, 5 members of INTZ, and Lyon, they're going to have to do something here as the fight commences. The Soldier's Divide was used. The Lamb's Respite on the back, keeping everyone alive, but Nautilus is in the ulti, hitting up multiple members. No one is dead just yet. There it is. Azir gets taken down by Jinx. Both the inhibitors now are fully exposed with no one to defend them.
Yeah, that's going to be at least 2 inhibitors taken. Most likely, you would imagine the game, but because 4 people are still alive, unrealistic to assume that they can just outright end. They were hoping for more kills there, INTZ. They don't find them, but they do still massively break that base and extend their gold.
Yeah, it's going to be a simple push in that top lane as we see INTZ, they have every single item they could possibly hope for going into this late game. Jinx, she's got herself the Runar's Hurricane we mentioned so well with that rocket form. I like how it actually becomes 2 more little rockets rather than 2 little arrows. I like that they added that in.
Yeah, all
very
of them
cute.
crit as well. It's great. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So that's why it's actually good, because you use a rocket crit with just the Hurricane. If one crits, they all crit.
Yeah.
And then the back wave dies in 1 auto attack. That's what makes it really cool.
It's a thing of beauty here. Looks like Revolta has picked himself up just a complete buttload of AP. Ryla's Crystal Scepter. We got 2 of the hourglasses here completed for both the main AP carries. So everyone just feeling good on the side of INTZ.
Absolutely right. They've got the items in place. They just don't have the vision yet that they actually need to secure, perhaps in that jungle. We'll see if they just brute force instead, however. Because honestly, there's going to be the slow bleed out with those 2 inhibitors down. They got themselves the dragon, which is why it's taken them a while to get to that top lane. You would imagine they would have got there quicker if they weren't going for the holistic victory. This has been very close to a perfect game. The only downside from for INTZ is that Lyon Gaming got a single turret.
We know who's having a perfect game right now, Revolta. 5-0-5, 100% kill participation on the Nidalee. You got to give him props for that. We mentioned just how much of a superstar jungler this player was, as we see everyone trading blows. The Gragas barrel goes in, but it is going to be Joxer tanking that one up with the Alistar. Maikau, he can't get in. There is Tokkers in the backline looking for his prey. He takes out Kindred. Tokkers, though, might go down, flashes in for a massive snare, gets the Zonias off in time, so the divide isn't going to be enough. Tokkers, he's still alive. The Jinx is taking the tower, and that's going to be game. INTZ take it out. A perfect game in terms of kills. You mentioned the 1 tower did go down, but in the lane swap, there's not much you can do about that one, Rusty.
Yeah, the Brazilian team, they lose their first game, but they come back into this second one. They send a message to everybody.
They looked on point, not dropping a single kill. No towers. I don't think falling behind once that game.
Yeah, that was a very well executed game, especially once they found the smallest semblance of a lead. They just completely translated that into the rest of the game. Dragon control, warding throughout where they were looking for and objectives, every single aspect of that game. Lyon Gaming could not keep up. They were 1 tower away from being perfect gamed.
Yeah, we saw Lissandra. She did such a great job. Tokkers on that Lissandra, always getting in the backline, ulting the Kindred before she can do anything. Just gets blown up, and that's the last thing you want. When you pick Kindred, you expect to get that Lamb's Respite down, keep your teammates alive, heal up, and then reset the fight, but that wasn't happening at all.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, is the way that I said Tokkers in particular to me, like, yes, it was a great performance from every single person on INTZ, but I just think he performed exceptionally. Like, the way that he was using his ultimates, the timings of his engages, everything that he was doing for INTZ was phenomenal, and a lot of credit to him, because that was the reason Kindred couldn't get ults off. He was busy dying to Lissandra in 1 combo.
Yeah, I'm racking my brain for any points to make who stood out in that series. Tokkers, he did a great job, but you have to remember just how well Revolta did. 100% kill participation, not sure about those last few kills at the end, but going into the end of the game, 5-0-5 in a 10-kill game. That's impressive, Rusty.
It's one of those things, right? Like, so 100% kill participation is phenomenal. I look at him and I'm like, congratulations, like, that is actually a very big deal. You're in Italy, sometimes you just heal the Jinx and you're like, go, give me assists.
4 assists.
Yeah, naturally. But 5-0-5, actually quite a good performance, I will say, from Revolta. And this, to me, actually comes back to what we mentioned during the game. The team weren't just playing around their solo lanes. Revolta notoriously wants to get top lane ahead, get mid lane ahead. He can vary between them all. They all just got Revolta ahead, and that translated into the entire game.
Yeah, so after that game, that means INTZ, they are going to be up 1-1. Lyon Gaming, unfortunately, going down 0-2 on the first day. That's going to leave a sour taste in their mouth. So hopefully they can bounce back tomorrow and come back stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important that Lyon Gaming can try and bounce back. They were honestly going into the Latin America South game. Everyone would have said that North had the favor, especially coming into this tournament to take that first victory, but they look a little bit lost here, honestly.
We'll have a quick look at the standings and a recap of how things have gone today. So, should be getting that up in a minute. There we go. As you can see now, INTZ, they've got that win over Lyon Gaming, so that puts them 1-1. But Lyon, you got to be feeling a little bit sorry for them. They came in as quite a heavy favorite, having been dominant in their region, but right now, not doing too good.
Yeah, 2 teams so far on this first day going down 0-2 in an unfortunate manner, I will say. The Chiefs Esports Club and Lyon Gaming, respectively, not finding those victories. Yeah, look, there is a lot of positives. There's also a lot of unfortunate things that have actually occurred in this first day, but also a lot of pleasant surprises.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a really good day. We've seen a lot of close games, a lot of real nail-biting finishes, and a lot of teams showing why they deserve to be in this tournament, why they're the best in their region, and why they're going to give us a hell of a lot of more good games.
Yeah, absolutely right. And games we have to come up, that is for certain. 7 today, plenty tomorrow.
Alrighty, guys, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come up, we have Icarus Gaming taking on Detonate. Focus me.